Hey guys, it's Lyric. Today I am letting TikTok choose what I read because apparently the way I want to start off the new year is by not picking what I read. Instead, I'm gonna make you guys do it. Yeah, that's really all I have to say for this intro, but if you want to follow me on TikTok, I post a lot over there. I'm warning you. Like, I'm literally warning you so you don't have to follow. And if you follow, that's now your problem. You signed up for it. That was your choice. I already have the results, and actually these results for this first round came out really... That man is so fine. I already have the results from the first TikTok that I posted. So how I'm doing this basically is I will like film a cute little TikTok video with both of the book options, and then I post it and then ask you guys to comment which one, and then whichever one gets the most comments, that's when I end up reading. So I've already posted the first one. I already have the results, but before I tell you the results, I'm going to show you the two book options. First off, we have Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I have heard a lot of great things about this book. It looks kind of thick, like it looks pretty long. This would be my first Lauren Asher read. I have not read any of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I know that's very popular and a lot of people have read it, but this will be my first book by her. This is like a childhood frenemies to lovers type of thing, leaning more on the side of enemies to lovers. I'm just going to read the first sentence of the POVs from both the MMC and the FMC. So Julian says, if I ever caught on fire, Dahlia... It would be a disgrace for me to try to pronounce her last name. Let's try again. If I ever caught on fire, Dahlia would fan the flames with a smile. Just that sentence alone, I would have bought the book. I'm being honest. That's all I need. And then Dahlia's POV says, people say the devil has many faces, but I know only one. Julian Lopez, my childhood rival and family frenemy. So this is option number one. Option number two, guys, this is one of those books that I have such high expectations for, and that's why I haven't read it, because I'm scared I'm gonna love it so much. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. One of my favorite booktubers, Sarah Caroli, absolutely loves this book. It's one of her favorite reads of 2023. She always is talking about it, and I have seen so many people love this book. I'm going to try to explain it simply. There's this world and there are elites and ordinaries. All the ordinaries get banished from the kingdom, and so there's this girl who is an ordinary, but she chooses to pose as a psychic, which means she is an elite because she has powers. And then she kind of like randomly saves one of Ilya's princes. Ilya is like his name is Kai, and so she's thrown into the purging trials, which is a competition between elites. Keep in mind, this girl is pretending to be an elite. She doesn't have powers, and now she's in competition with elites, fighting elites. There's probably going to be major tension between her and the prince that she saved. These are the two options, and now I'm going to share with you guys the results. The winner of this first round is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Guys, the amount of y'all that said to do Powerless, it was almost within like 15 minutes of posting this video, I had so many comments that were saying Powerless. There were a few that said Love Redesigned, but for the most part, you guys were all like Powerless, Powerless, Powerless. And so I'm like super excited for this now. I feel like it's a lot of people's favorite, so they're super passionate about it. I'm about to start 2024 off on a very high note. Also, I didn't realize I did this, but both of these are by Lauren Asher and Lauren Roberts. Let's get reading. So I just passed the 100-page mark, guys, and it is time for an update. I'm having the 5-star feelings. I know. This book is like over 500 pages long, I think, and I'm already getting those 5-star feelings, y'all. The tension between Kai and Peyton already, like, we haven't had too much interactions between them, but what we have is so good. And I really like Peyton so far. She's a very strong FMC, which I love. I always love that in fantasy books, but I'm just really loving Peyton. And then Kai is hot. And everything he says, it's just, he's giving like, something I love about romantasy books, which is romance and fantasy, is when the plot is good and the romance is good as well. So I'm at the part where Peyton has just gotten called away to take place in the purging trials, which is where the elites compete against each other. But I have a few quotes I need to read. This is from Kai's POV, and he's describing Peyton's eyes. This is like after their first interaction, and he says, "It's like drowning in the ocean. Her eyes are the color of the shallow sea's deepest corner, a clear sky as it begins to drift into night, the subtle shade of a forget-me-not. And like the hottest flame, her eyes are blue and full of fire." That's just such a beautiful way to describe eyes. I mean, come on, come on. And then the part where all the elites that are participating in these purging trials, they're all gathered for the first time together. They're making their introductions and everything. And Kai goes up to the front and he's kind of like introducing himself to Peyton, and he goes, "And I'm Kai, but you already knew that," because she saved him and everything. It was just, the moment, it was really good. And then lastly, my favorite quote so far between the two of them. There's a point, it's actually right after this meeting where all the elites like get to know each other. Peyton and Kai end up being together, and they both have knives to each other's throats, both of them. And then Peyton says, "Mark my words, Prince, I will be your undoing." And then Kai says, "Oh, darling, I look forward to it." I actually had to reread that whole knife to the throat scene a few times, multiple times in a row, back to back, and I'm probably gonna do it one more time today. But yeah, that's my update. I'm already loving it. And I'm only 1/5 about of the way through. I'm getting the 5-star tingles. That's all I gotta say. This book is a little too good, I think. Every time Kai opens his mouth, I'm a goner. I am a goner. Every time this man speaks, every time an English word comes out of his mouth, every time he opens his mouth and sound... Okay, never mind. And yet again, I am in love with a man written by a woman who only exists on paper. Last night I finished Powerless. I really don't know how to put into words how much I enjoyed this book. This book was so good. The plot and like the whole concept of it as a fantasy is not extreme. Like, it's not new or anything, but the tension between Kai and Peyton, so good. So good. Sorry, I'm switching to my phone camera, so if the audio is weird, I'm sorry. My battery camera charger is not working well, so even though the battery has been charging all day, it just already died. Continuing on, I'm not even kidding when I say this, almost every single time Kai is speaking, it is something that is worth underlining, that is worth highlighting, that is something I want to remember. Miss Lauren Roberts, that girl knows how to write a solid MMC. That is exactly what she did. Love the tension. Also the ending, as I was getting closer to the end, because I had heard that it was a cliffhanger type of ending, and I was like, I feel like it might wrap up really satisfyingly. Oh my god. This was enemies to lovers. With that cliffhanger though, Reckless is gonna be enemies to lovers. No, that ending. I created a whole tab for quotes that I loved from this book. I put them in my Notion. There are so many pages worth of scrolling through of just quotes you could probably write a few chapters with just amazing quotes that I have saved in there. You guys think I'm kidding. The hype is so for real with this book. The writing, I love it. The storyline, I love it. Peyton, Kai. Oh my god. I'm smitten. I think Kai, by the end of Reckless, might make it in my top 5. He might be up there with both of the Reeses and Zayden Ryerson. Kai might get up there. This is such an easy 5-star. Such an easy 5-star for me. If you follow me on Goodreads, the updates, I was literally updating with different quotes throughout this book. So many updates, so many good quotes. I have posted like 7 TikToks relating to Powerless, and I can't stop. I won't stop. That will continue. This book is going to become a part of me, I think. Easy 5-star for Powerless. Thank you guys for choosing this book. Literally the best way to start off the new year with a 5-star read. So thank you guys so much for choosing this on TikTok. Now it is time to move on to our next 2 book selections. The 2 book options I wanted to let you guys choose between are The Bodyguard by Catherine Center and Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Those are the 2 different books we're doing for this next TikTok. So I filmed it. I'm gonna put the TikTok up here somewhere so you can just look at it. Yeah, so that's what I posted, and I was like, I think it's gonna be pretty unanimous with this one, just because I've heard a lot about one of these books specifically, and that is Divine Rivals. With that being said, the winner of this TikTok was Divine Rivals. Woo! Yay! I'm so excited for this book. This is also another favorite of Sarah Caroli's. We talk about her all the time over here. It's basically, this channel is basically like a fan page for her. So excited for this book. This is about 2 writers. They write in the newspaper, and it's set back in, I don't know what time period it is. This is back when they would use like typewriters in the newsroom and stuff. What I've gathered is that there's this war going on. It's between like these 2 gods, and then they can recruit soldiers. Anyways, the main character, her name is, what's her name? Her name is Iris. Her brother is fighting in that war. She works in a newspaper room, and her her nemesis, his name is Roman. They're fighting for the same position, the same promotion, and Iris ends up writing these letters to her brother, and she puts them in her wardrobe. She has this little magic wardrobe thing, and it ends up like taking her letter, and she's like, oh, I guess my brother's getting it. But then she realizes that her brother never responds, and she's like, maybe he's just not receiving them. Turns out Roman is the one who's receiving the letters. His house also includes some magic stuff, and so that is where the connection is. The thing is, Roman figures out that Iris is the one behind the letters. He figures that out early on, and so he like enjoys kind of playing with it. I think he kind of will talk to Iris, will taunt her a little bit in the newsroom and stuff, but secretly like he knows that she writes beautifully, and he knows those letters are hers. Iris, on the other hand, she does not know that Roman is the one receiving the letters. And so once Iris figures out that it's not her brother that's receiving the letters, she says, okay, I guess we should introduce ourselves then. And then Roman, since he does know who Iris is, he goes, actually, I think it's really cool keeping it anonymous. I think this is kind of cool what we've got going on. So this whole time, I guess what's gonna happen is Roman's gonna like fall in love, because he already loves her writing. That's why he didn't want to stop. That's why he wanted to keep this going. He knows who he's talking to. Iris is gonna end up falling in love with him through letters, maybe. This is just my guess. This is what I think is gonna happen. And she's never gonna know that it's Roman, her literal nemesis. I don't know. That's just my guess. I'm actually filming the intro to this book after I started reading it. That's just how things are working out. But I've only read about 50 pages, and that's so far what I've gathered. Something about this book so far is so cozy, and the time period that it's set. Also the playlist I'm listening to. I think I show it to you guys. It goes so well with this book, so I'm really excited for it. Also, look at what I discovered. Do you see how cute that is? It is so pretty. I love when books are pretty underneath like the jacket cover thing. I absolutely love that. So yeah, that is the next read that you guys chose for this video. I also have high expectations for this one. guys, I just read page 100 of Divine Rivals, and so I want to share a few thoughts. I think it might be the time period and just the whole aesthetic of the newspaper and being in the news area back in that time. I think that's what gives this book this, I don't know what the feeling is, but it almost makes me feel like I'm at peace or at ease while reading this book. The storyline is just so beautiful. I love the writing too. Like, I've read beautiful writing before, but this one is beautiful in a way that when you read it, you just feel like that is exactly how this writing makes me feel. Just so different from books that I've read in the past, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way at all. I am loving it. I love the area it's set in. Sometimes for books, I will already have seen fan art before I start reading them. I try to not have it like that, but for some super popular books like ACOTAR, I don't know, a few other books, I've seen fan art before going into it. This one, I haven't. What I do like to do is once I get about 100 pages into a book, I will look up the fan art and kind of see if it matches up with what I have in my mind, because what I have in my mind isn't super detailed. It's hard to get it super detailed without seeing a visual and connecting a visual to it. So I'm gonna look at some fan art now, look at like some of those videos where it shows Divine Rivals aesthetic, and that'll just really help me like fully form the picture, I guess. But I am really enjoying this book. The letters that they write to each other are beautiful. They make me feel safe, even if the topic isn't always safe, or even if the topic is heavy. The way it's written is so pretty, and I'm just really enjoying it. I love this book so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I think there's like 300 something pages in this book, so I guess I'm close to a third of the way through. I'm really liking it. So yeah, that's my little update on Divine Rivals. Now I'm gonna start part 2. Hey guys, I just finished Divine Rivals. I have thoughts. Like I mentioned, the setting and the vibe of this book is different from any that I've read before. I can definitely say that. It may be the war aspect. I've never read a war set in this timeline type of book, and the way that is mixed with like the fantasy aspect just a little bit. It's not like overdone. It doesn't feel like a full fantasy world, but there's definitely a fantasy aspect to it, obviously. The ending of this book, I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a plot twist, I guess you could say. I thought it was going to end a little more on a final note. I know there's a book after this, but for some reason I just wasn't expecting it to end on that type of cliffhanger. That's interesting, and now I really want to read the second book. I definitely want to read Ruthless Vows sometime soon, which actually just came out really recently, like a week ago. I loved this. Roman and Kit, their connection and their letters, the writing between them was so beautiful. I found myself underlining so many things, just so many little sections of sentences. It wasn't even always stuff they were saying to each other. It was just like a different and prettier way to say something, and then I would underline it. Like towards the end especially, I was underlining on like every other page. There were just so many cute moments when I was like, wow, I would never think of saying something like that. It just felt like ways to spice up average sayings or average words. I just really liked it. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. Something about this book, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel safe, even though, like I mentioned, it's literally set in a war, so I don't know why. I think it is the writing that makes me feel that way, but the letters and everything. And I can definitely say I found myself reading this easier in big spurts. When I read it, it was like big chunks. Like I was able to keep reading and keep reading. I didn't really have to stop too much, especially towards the end. And I wouldn't say it's because it's a super thrilling book. I don't know, it would just rope me in, and I really escaped into the world. And when I mentioned that I looked up the fan art earlier in this video, I didn't. Which is weird for me. Normally I would have to do that or get some picture in my mind. I didn't do that until the end. Until after I finished the book, I just now was looking at fan art, but I didn't do it in the middle of this. And that means the characters and stuff were forming in my head a little bit better than normal. So yeah, 4 stars for Divine Rivals. So that is actually going to wrap up this video of TikTok choosing what I read. All I gotta say is you guys did an amazing job. I have started off the year with 2 really good books, a 5-star and a 4-star. Still thinking about Powerless every single day. Kai. Yeah, y'all definitely chose some good books, so I think I might do this in the future more often and post TikToks with different books and ask you guys to choose, because you're doing a great job with it so far and I trust you. So yeah, if you want to participate in more videos like this, feel free to follow my socials. I'll put them up there. I post a bunch of book content on both of those. You will probably get stuff daily, so follow at your own risk. But yeah, I really enjoyed this video and I feel like this is a great way to start off my reading journey for 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Love y'all so much, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!